And we are back with another episode of the Hill Podcast where we sharpen your tools for the upward journey. We're going to continue our talk on being alone and how that can benefit you in your self-improvement journey. So I touched on the idea of spending time alone as a way to benefit your interpersonal relationships, whether that be romantically or friendships that you're having. I think to kind of paint a visual for this, we should use the airplane oxygen mask analogy. And that kind of goes like this. Before you can reach over and help the other person next to you with their oxygen source, you need to ensure that you yourself have oxygen coming in so you can actually adequately connect and help those around you. The same thing goes for your interpersonal relationships, your romantic relationships. If you don't know who you are and you haven't spent time alone with yourself to understand how you think and how you process the world around you, it's going to be difficult for you to relate to other human beings. So secure your oxygen source, or secure the inner work and understanding of oneself before one tries to reach out and connect with others. Life challenges us with a lot of different difficulties, and sometimes the things that we face in our past are traumatic and they are extremely hard to sit down and think about, whether that be an abusive relationship, a challenging upbringing, or past friendships that you thought meant the world to you that actually ended up falling apart. The question now becomes, what can you learn from these difficult situations that you faced? Did you run away from these situations and not think about them after they happened? In life, everything that is difficult often has something valuable to teach us. We don't want to bring baggage into our new relationships, whether that be the romantic or the friendship. You want to establish all of your relationships on trust. Going into new relationships, having resolved your past conflicts is incredibly powerful. You've learned from the things that you don't want in your life. You've learned how to handle different kinds of conflicts and how to be better with other people. You've learned how to communicate. Now you can approach your new relationships with a sense of wonder and a sense of optimism, because you're not expecting something negative to happen, because you're able to look at the other person in the relationship with a sense of respect, because you understand yourself and you respect yourself. Therefore, you can respect those around you in all of your relationships. When you go solo, you're able to develop your own unique ideas, and this allows you to bring something unique to relationships. You aren't just living out the status quo. You are the summation of your own unique thoughts, and you have something incredible to bring to relationships, because you aren't just repeating the societal narrative and the things that we are constantly surrounded by. You instead have this unique perspective to bring to a relationship that'll ultimately set every relationship that you have up for success, because you have something to bring and you can sharpen the other person's worldview by bringing something unique to the table. It's a lot like getting ready for a musical performance. You have different ensemble members, and let's say, for example, one ensemble member has done his own solo work per se. He's done everything he needs to do for his part, but he gets unique ideas on how to interpret his part. So what does he do? He brings his idea to the group, or let's say it's a duet, because we're going to model this after our interpersonal relationships. So he comes up and he says, "I really think that this is the climax of the piece. We should put a lot of emphasis and a lot of volume here. What do you think?" That's interesting. I've never thought of it that way. Maybe we could become a little bit louder at this point in the music, but what if we taper off slowly and then we reach a nice, calm finish of the piece? That's perfect. Wow, looks like we're making music. So in that dialogue, what I was trying to point out is, when somebody has a unique perspective and they can bring that to a relationship, like in a musical performance that they need to prepare for, it opens the floodgates for the free flow of ideas. And that's incredibly powerful, because then you guys can do this bounce back and forth where you sharpen each other's ideas, and then you can become even more creative and offer the world a perspective that maybe has never been seen before. And this world has a lot of cookie cutter occurrences. A lot of people are just trying to do what all the greats are doing, and they aren't looking at themselves to see what their specific skill set is. What can you offer the world that is unique? What can you offer the world that is solely from your view? Because everybody is unique and nobody thinks the same. We all come from different backgrounds and we all have a different nature and nurture. So we need to take advantage of that. Another huge benefit of solo time is The ability to be able to discover what you want in a significant other or in a friendship. You understand your values. You understand where you place certain beliefs. And that's not to say that you should become rigid in your beliefs when you spend time alone thinking about them. But you should know what things are most important to you and what you would value in a friend or in a potential romantic relationship. You know, in romantic relationships, I would encourage everybody to sit down and really think beyond, oh, she's really hot, or oh man, she's so sexy, or oh man, he's really cool. Like, it has to go beyond that, because when the looks fade in romantic relationships, what are you left with? Looks are surface level. We have to go deeper, because relationships are deeper. They ultimately lead us to a deeper understanding of the world around us through the sharpening of perspectives. And this might sound counterintuitive, but spending time alone opens you up to put other people first. When you understand yourself to the highest extent and you become so confident and you know your inner workings to a T, then you can really start to put other people first, because you have reached a whole new level of inner peace. You don't risk losing yourself in the riptide. Instead, you are the lighthouse in the storm. You understand yourself. You know where you stand on different things. You are able to attract exactly what you want out of life. Self-actualization is another huge part of the human experience, and we are all reaching for self-actualization. And interestingly enough, reaching self-actualization requires much time on your own. Marriage and interpersonal relationships are not the pinnacle of fulfillment. A lot of love stories and movies depict the two people finding love and the challenges that they had to reach the point of falling in love. But it doesn't go into what happens afterwards. Most movies end at the point where they sail off into the sunset, and that's the end of it. It doesn't show the struggles that one will face after having established the love and the marriage. The struggles that you faced on your own are still there once you get married. The struggles that you faced on your own are still there even if you have a bunch of friends. So it comes down to, do you have meaningful work? Do you have something that is self-fulfilling? Do you have something that you can offer the world with your unique skill set and perspective? There is nobody like you, and nobody thinks like you. So how is it that you can offer the world your best? It doesn't stop at marriage. Your struggles won't stop. And to offset the struggles of life, you have to have a purpose. How are you helping humanity? What are you doing to make the world better while you're here? Spending time obsessed with romance and friendships and being the cool guy or being the cool girl in your social circle will lead to missing out on opportunities for personal growth that will lead you to self-actualization, and by extension this will improve all of your relationships. A lot of the greatest people out there have spent tons of time in solitude. Einstein, Pascal, and Aristotle, he had a theory on self-efficacy. The person who is strongest, the person who is most successful, is able to be on their own sufficient, not needing anybody else. And this isn't to say that accepting help from others is a negative thing. It's in fact a strength. But you can't accept help from others if you don't even know what you want or what you need. So in conclusion, voluntarily taking time alone is one of the most effective ways to combat loneliness. Why? You become okay with the silence. It's another form of working out. The more that you spend time alone, the better you get at being alone. You don't need constant entertainment. You don't need to be constantly in dialogue with others. Instead, the silence becomes comforting as you can hear your thoughts and understand your innermost struggles, conflicts, and desires. It's incredibly important to balance our time with and without people around us. You should strive to be the strongest version of yourself on your own, confident, unique, and dedicated to a mission that leads you towards self-actualization. In gaining this inner peace, you'll find that your interpersonal relationships will flourish, and you will have the ability to help more people with the unique ideas you've developed. My friends, spending time alone is invariably better than developing a false sense of community around those that don't really understand you, around people that you formed relationships with that are based on a false version of you. To be the most authentic self that you can, you have to spend time alone to understand how you think, what makes you tick, and then you can attract true relationships as opposed to a false sense of community that will leave you empty in this world. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of the Hill Podcast. I hope to see you guys again soon. And if you enjoyed this episode, hit that like and subscribe button. Helps me get a little bit higher on YouTube's algorithm so I can share my message with more people. Bye.